Watoto walikuwa wanasemekana wamekosa kuenda shule kwa sababu hawana karo. Watoto wetu wote primary na secondary walikuwa wanasoma kila pahali Kenya hii yetu.
It is a rather unfortunate situation that Kenyans have to be subjected to, because the work of defending the work was during the tenure when President Kenyatta and Deputy President Ruto served. That's the time they needed to make the communication, convince Kenyans of what exactly we are doing, that this is so good, this is succeeding. That was the time. Because we risk suffering revisionist tendencies. Because life wasn't perfect during that tenure, 2013 to 2022 June. Or no, it wasn't June, it was September. There were challenges. You recall there were many strikes that we covered of teachers. If you remember the former Secretary General Wilson Sossion, there was the strike of 100, more than 100, I think it was 105 or thereabouts. There's a time county governments had threatened to shut down because of delayed disbursements of resources. There are times schools were late to receive capitation. And indeed, there were several strikes from even the universities themselves. And there are times help disbursements were late. So government is not necessarily efficient, and especially when it comes to getting down to business. And of course, the situation we are in currently, because government is, what is that game where you pass on the baton? Really? And I think even President Kenyatta described it once when he appeared at the Bomas of Kenya, when he was throwing something at the former deputy president. So you receive 1.79 trillion shillings worth of debt from President Mwai Kibaki, and you come in and you accumulate so much debt with a lot of justification.
Grow it.
You grow it, indeed. There was a revision of the economy, rebasing of the economy. I think that was in 2014 when we became a lower middle income country, and therefore that meant a lot for us to even access more debt from foreign countries or foreign systems. And in tow was William Ruto to defend why we were taking debt. And I remember President Kenyatta, one of the Christmas breaks, telling journalists in Mombasa at the time, funny how one of my colleagues was there, Hussein Mohammed, you know how he works today. And he was saying that he was taking all that debt because the value of debt is what it does. That you can actually take more than 100% of the GDP of debt as long as you can show results for it. He even gave examples of Japan. And at the time there was a push that you needed to disclose the SGR contract. And he said, just come, I'll get it for you. We didn't. So it was not all rosy. The point here is that governments come, they have a manifesto, they have a plan because they have promised a lot of things to the public. Some of them, most of them which are unachievable. It's a lot of promising that which you cannot deliver. Life becomes more expensive. Indeed, even in the next election in 2027, there will be many promises. Life will become more expensive in 2028. We must be prepared for that. But I think people need to define their legacies when they are serving. Revisionist tendencies may not work in the fullness of time.
Indeed. Many remember Eurobond. You remember how we couldn't account for it, and that money went into budgetary support for projects that we couldn't. The SGR, the debt, the cost of building that SGR that was inflated how many times? Almost 3 times. And remember, when did that debt become, when were we to start paying for the principal? 10 years later, right? In 2025. So let's be very clear. The debt situation we find ourselves in was the making of 2 people.
Ruto.
Exactly, Ruto. And President William Ruto then said, if there is any question about debt,
come and ask me.
Ask me. So here we are now. In hindsight, you know, that vision is 2020. So, and I see a lot of that on social media, that life was better under, that things were different. And I think just to sum it up, like Alina said, this is 3rd term of the Jubilee administration. Jay, as we take a break.
Thank you. I think the question then would be, why does Uhuru Kenyatta find his voice now? Why not immediately after William Ruto took over the presidency. And it takes me back to one time when Francis Atwoli said that Uhuru Kenyatta is too young to retire.
Munataka aende wapi?
Munataka aende wapi? And I think these are the things he was speaking about. That once you've retired as a president, like Sam rightfully says, your legacy ought to have been defined then. But again, we must also remember that Uhuru Kenyatta has spent the last 2.5 years of this administration fighting for Jubilee. He didn't have it up to until Rigathi Gachagua was impeached. Yeah. Remember, at one afternoon, we were called to cover a near blow between Uhuru Kenyatta and some goons and police officers who'd come to take over the party, just across the road. So finally, he finds Jubilee, he looks at it, he cherishes it and realizes, I have a platform that now I can speak and speak as a party leader of Jubilee. So all these things, he finds his voice simply because the race for 2027 is being shaped, but then again, he has a podium that if he speaks as the Jubilee party leader, and sometimes it can be said not as the retired president.
Yeah, interesting distinction. And that's the distinction we're going to come back with and talk about which way forward, because now you mentioned 2027, and there's been quite some activity around that. Parties having their national delegates meeting, people launching their presidential bids formally, and which party, are they united, are they not, who's in the pack, who's not, whom have we seen with whom, and who was notably absent when certain people were together somewhere else on the same day. It's not even 2026 yet. We'll be right back. We'll be talking about the opposition. It was interesting also that we heard earlier that Governor Gladys Wanga was saying those people who are meant to be the opposition. Okay. Okay.
Welcome to Kenya.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's always about who's saying it, right? Yeah, and it's contrast. Okay, let's take a break. We're back with more.
Are you coming to the tree?
See the extraordinary life of Bildad Kagia of the Kapenguria 6 live on stage at the Kenya National Theatre from the 11th to the 19th of October. Tickets available at View Tickets. Kagia, the Kenya that could have been. Brought to you in partnership with Royal Media Services, Citizen Digital.
It's big, bigger than you can imagine. It's massive. It's the biggest jackpot. Shabiki Super Jackpot Sahini 100 million. Yes, predict 17 games na 99 bob na ujishikie 100 million. Bonuses ni from 13th correct prediction. Na ukipata zote wrong, usiwori, bado kuna bonus. Hii ndio jackpot. Shabiki Super Jackpot is now at 100 million. To play, download app ya Shabiki on Play Store or SMS SJ